Do you ever wonder why the more you chase her, the more she pulls away? Why the more available you are, the less interested she seems? Let's be real. Sometimes your biggest mistake isn't what you said or didn't say, it's that you were always there. Every message responded to within seconds, every call answered no matter the time, every plan she suggested. You dropped everything. And at first you thought you were being caring, thoughtful, consistent. But what you didn't realize is that your constant availability slowly started to chip away at your value. When you're always available, you unconsciously tell her that your time, your priorities, your purpose, none of those matter as much as she does. And while that might sound romantic in theory, in practice, it sets off an internal alarm. A woman wants to feel special, yes, but not at the expense of your identity. When you lose your balance just to be near her, she starts to question what's anchoring you. Now think about it. What kind of men naturally draw attention? The ones who are driven, purposeful, focused. Men who don't drop their responsibilities just to be on every text thread. Men who respond with intention, not desperation. That's not cold. That's attractive. That's value. When you make yourself too easy to reach, too easy to please, and too easy to predict, you remove all sense of mystery. And let's be honest, mystery isn't a game, it's a feeling that keeps interest alive. She should be curious about how you spend your time, not certain you're always waiting around for her to show up. Because if you're always there, what is she chasing? If you're always ready, where's the thrill? You think you're building a connection, but you're actually creating emotional fatigue. She doesn't feel like she's getting to know a man. She feels like she's carrying one. And while that might not be your intention, the energy speaks for itself. Every time you over-pursue, every time you prioritize her over your own commitments, you're silently screaming, "You are my only source of meaning," and that's far too heavy of a burden for her to carry. You see, value is rooted in balance. It's knowing when to give and when to pull back, when to be present and when to let her feel your absence. You show up strong, not desperate. Present, not overbearing. She doesn't want you to be her shadow. She wants to feel like she earned your presence, not like it was guaranteed. Sometimes stepping back speaks louder than showing up, because value isn't built in the chase, it's built in your purpose. Let her see that you're a man with things to do, goals to meet, and a life that doesn't pause just because she walks in the room. And when she sees that, she'll walk in with a little more intention too. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat across from a woman trying to impress her while deep down you're questioning if you're even enough? If you've ever felt that quiet panic, that hidden insecurity creeping in, then let me be honest with you. She felt it too. Because no matter how good your words are or how well you play it cool, a lack of self-belief always finds a way to show. And nothing kills your value in front of a woman faster than not knowing who you are. Confidence isn't just about how you walk, talk, or dress. It's about the energy you carry when you enter a room. It's the silence between your words that says, "I know myself." But when you're uncertain about your direction, when you're constantly doubting your worth or waiting for someone else to define it for you, you become forgettable. Not because you don't have potential, but because you haven't stepped into it. A man without purpose is a man who floats, and a man who floats is easy to ignore. Women are deeply intuitive. They don't just listen to what you say, they sense how you feel about yourself. If you're walking through life without a clear sense of who you are and what you stand for, she will feel that instability, even if you cover it with charm or gestures. But when a man is rooted in his purpose, when he wakes up every day with a mission, even a small one, he moves differently. He listens with intention, he speaks with clarity, and he doesn't need her to fill the holes in his identity. That kind of presence is magnetic. She may not be able to explain why, but she'll feel pulled toward it. The problem is, too many men try to seek purpose in the relationship itself. They make her the goal, the reward, the destination. And that pressure, whether you say it out loud or not, is too much. Because when your sense of value depends on her approval, you become easy to manipulate and even easier to walk away from. Why? Because you're not standing for anything outside of her. You can't expect her to see your value when you haven't decided on it for yourself. You can't lead a woman if you don't even know where you're going. And no matter how kind, funny, or loyal you are, none of it truly matters if you're still questioning your own worth in silence. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. something that keeps you anchored, something that drives you. Because when you know who you are, you stop chasing validation and start attracting respect. And that's when she really starts to notice. Have you ever caught yourself checking your phone, waiting for her reply, and the moment it comes, you feel relieved, validated, like everything is okay again? If you've ever felt your mood swing just because she didn't respond how you expected, I need you to pause and ask yourself something. Why does her reaction have so much power over you? Because if your self-worth rises and falls based on her attention, you're not connecting, you're clinging. And clinging quietly kills your value. Validation feels good. Everyone likes to feel wanted, but when her opinion becomes your emotional thermostat, when you're only okay if she's okay with you, you've handed over your power without even realizing it. You're no longer in control of how you feel, how you show up, or how you carry yourself. Everything becomes about her approval. And that shift might feel subtle to you, but trust me, she notices it. It starts with small things. You agree with everything she says, even when you don't. You laugh a little too hard at jokes you didn't find funny. You hold back thoughts just to keep things smooth. And at first, she may not be able to pinpoint it, but something about your energy feels off. It's not that you're doing something wrong, it's that you're doing too much. And in doing so, you begin to lose the very thing that made you attractive in the first place, your authenticity. There's a difference between caring about someone's feelings and needing their constant reassurance to feel whole. One is emotional maturity, the other is emotional dependence. And no woman wants to be responsible for managing your self-esteem. That's not love, it's pressure, it's weight, and eventually it becomes exhausting. What women are drawn to is a man who knows how to validate himself, a man who can show up fully without needing permission, one who appreciates her opinion but isn't shaped by it. That kind of man brings balance into the relationship. He isn't seeking a lifeline, he's offering partnership. He doesn't shrink himself to fit her mold, he invites her into his world with confidence. When you're always performing, always adjusting yourself just to keep her interested, she doesn't see a man. She sees someone scared of losing her. And fear never builds attraction. Fear only builds walls, tension, and emotional distance. She can't relax into a connection with someone who's constantly checking to see if they're doing it right. You don't need to chase approval to be loved. You don't need to be perfect to be valued. You just need to be real. Because when you stop seeking validation, you start creating space for respect. And respect is the only ground where true connection grows. Have you ever thought you were building a deep emotional connection with a woman, only to feel her pull away right when you started to open up? You thought sharing your past, your pain, your insecurities would bring you closer, but instead she went cold. And you're left confused, wondering what went wrong. The truth is, it wasn't your vulnerability that pushed her away. It was the imbalance. You gave her all of you too soon, too fast, before she had even earned the right to see that part of you. We've been told that opening up emotionally is a sign of strength, and that's true when it's done with balance. But when you overexpose your emotions without boundaries, it stops feeling like strength. It starts to feel like instability, and whether you realize it or not, it puts pressure on her to hold space for a version of you that you haven't even fully processed yourself. There's a huge difference between being emotionally available and emotionally exposed. Emotional availability means you're connected to your feelings, aware of them, and able to express them when it matters. But emotional overexposure is different. It's when you start unloading everything at once, expecting her to soothe, fix, or carry your emotional weight. That's when connection starts to feel more like obligation. You might think that being an open book shows you trust her, that it builds intimacy, but when it's rushed, it skips over the natural pace that emotional bonds need to grow. Vulnerability is powerful, but only when it's rooted in self-awareness. When you open up just for comfort or attention, it no longer serves the relationship, it drains it. Women want to feel emotionally safe with a man, yes, but they also want to feel that he's strong enough to hold himself together. They want to see that you've done the work, that you can handle your emotions without needing someone else to fix them. When you show her all your emotional wounds before there's even a foundation of trust, she may feel overwhelmed. Not because she doesn't care, but because the connection hasn't matured enough to hold that weight. And let's be real, when you give away the deepest parts of yourself too early, you strip away your emotional mystery. That inner world, the layers of who you are, those are meant to unfold over time. That slow discovery is what keeps a woman engaged, invested, and drawn in. But if you put everything on the table too soon, there's nothing left to wonder about, nothing left for her to earn. Emotional depth is attractive when it comes with restraint. Show her that you feel, that you care, that you're human, but also show her that you have the strength to carry your own weight. Let her witness your emotional world, not become responsible for it. Because when she sees a man who feels deeply but leads himself with calm and clarity, that's when her respect and her desire truly deepen. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. Why are you trying so hard to impress her? Why are you bending over backward to prove you're good enough, smart enough, successful enough? If you're being honest, is it really confidence you're showing, or fear that she won't stay if you don't keep performing? Because here's the truth. Trying too hard to impress doesn't make her want you more. It makes her question why you feel the need to try so hard in the first place. When you enter a room needing to be noticed, validated, or applauded, you give away your power without even realizing it. Whether it's the way you name drop your achievements, constantly highlight your status, or feel the urge to dominate every conversation, you're not attracting her, you're exhausting her. Because deep down she can feel that it's not confidence, it's insecurity wrapped in effort. Authentic value doesn't announce itself, it doesn't scream for attention, it doesn't come with a flashy display or a constant need to prove something. It's quiet, it's steady, and it speaks without saying a word. Real value is presence. It's how you carry yourself when nobody is watching. It's the calm assurance that says, I know who I am and I'm enough, whether you see it or not. Now, don't get me wrong, it's okay to want to make a good impression. But there's a difference between being genuine and putting on a performance. When you're constantly trying to impress her, you're not building a connection. You're trying to buy her attention with approval. You stop being a man standing in his own worth and become a man chasing applause. And the truth is, women pick up on that energy fast. At first, it might seem flattering, but soon it starts to feel like pressure. She starts to wonder what you're hiding behind all that effort. And worse, she begins to feel like she's the prize you're trying to win, instead of someone being invited into your world. When a man knows his worth, he doesn't need to prove it. He doesn't try to impress. He simply lives in a way that reflects his standards. He's kind, not performative. He's generous, not showy. He's present, not desperate for attention. And ironically, that's the man who truly captures a woman's interest, not because he tried too hard, but because he didn't need to. Stop performing, stop proving, start being. Let her be drawn to the man you already are, not the version you think you need to become just to get her attention. Because when you show up as your real self, fully grounded, fully whole, that's when she sees your true value. And that's the only version of you worth keeping. Let me ask you something that too many men avoid facing. How many times have you let something slide just to keep her happy? How many times have you laughed off disrespect, ignored a red flag, or stayed silent when your boundaries were crossed, just because you didn't want to upset her or risk losing her? We convince ourselves it's maturity, it's patience, it's understanding, but in reality, it's fear. And that fear slowly kills your value in her eyes. When a man doesn't stand up for himself, especially in a relationship, it signals something much deeper than passiveness. It tells her, whether she realizes it consciously or not, that you don't trust your own voice, that your need to be liked or needed or wanted is stronger than your sense of self. And once a woman senses that you're willing to betray your own standards just to keep her, she will start losing the very respect that keeps attraction alive. Respect isn't about being dominant. It's not about raising your voice or drawing hard lines every 5 minutes. It's about presence. It's about calm, quiet certainty. When you say no, it means no. When you express what matters to you, you don't apologize for it. And when you set boundaries, you hold them not to punish her, but to protect yourself. The truth is, a woman will test your boundaries, not always intentionally, but it will happen. And not because she's trying to break you, but because she wants to know if you're real. if you're solid, if you'll stay true to yourself even when the stakes feel high. She wants to feel the edge of your limits, not because she wants to cross them, but because she wants to know they exist. You might think you're winning her over by being agreeable all the time, by never challenging her, by always being the nice guy. But what you're actually doing is dissolving your own identity in the process. You're molding yourself into what you think she wants instead of standing firm in who you are. And the more you do that, the less she sees a man she can lean on, trust, or respect. Boundaries are not walls. They are invitations. They say, this is who I am. This is what I will and will not tolerate. If you can respect that, we can build something beautiful. And a woman who's emotionally mature, who's truly ready for a relationship, will not only respect that, she'll be drawn to it. Because boundaries create safety, structure, and clarity. They separate the boys from the men. Never be afraid to walk away from anything that costs you your self-respect. Because the moment you compromise your values just to keep someone, you've already lost something far more valuable, and that's a price no relationship is worth.